How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Goosebumps number 12. This one's entitled Be Careful What You Wish For. It originally came out October of 1993 and is, of course, written by R.L. Stine. This cover on here, really fun, very, very pink, and we got the crystal ball in the hands and the glowing light and the smoke. It's pretty cool, but fun fact, this is one of the few original series covers not painted by Tim Jacobus. This is actually Stanislaw Fernandez. Now, in the mid-2000s, when they were reprinting these books with the goop going down the sides, Tim Jacobus would come in and do a new cover for this. His other one, Stay Out of the Basement, that he missed, he would do a cover for that as well. And I don't typically double buy to get all the covers, but I might for Tim Jacobus. I don't know, it depends on if I see them. But overall, a fun cover and an okay book. The thing is, I don't think this book is terrible. I know there are some truly bad Goosebumps books, especially when you get into the spin-offs, but everything I've read so far has been okay at least, and this one's okay. You know, if you're big into wish stories, you might really like this, and I can totally see some people who are into this type of story really liking it, and I don't want to say it's a bad book at all. It's just one of the weaker Goosebumps entries, and part of that is because of how these wishes work. When you do a character that only gets 3 wishes, you realize that that's really not a lot, and in turn, like the first wish, which isn't the most interesting, gets a bunch of screen time, and I kinda wish that there was a whole bunch more wishes in this book, because then it would be wackier and crazier and be a lot more fun. The first wish isn't great. We spend a lot of time there. The second wish is super cool and really makes the book, but it doesn't quite make sense. It's not exactly what you wished for, even with that whole misinterpreting angle, but they kind of just have to say, look, magic's an inexact science, and sometimes stuff like this happens. And at the end of the book, which I won't spoil, the main character does make some dumb decisions. It's definitely a point of leave it alone, don't try to get anything else out of this, just leave the situation be, but of course, she has to not take the smart move, and some of the ending does get a little frustrating, and I believe the absolute ending of this book is a bit of a controversial moment among fans, so I'd be curious what you thought of it. So yeah, overall, it just dwells on things that aren't the most impressive, and the rules and stuff can be a little shaky. I guess without further ado, let's talk a bit about the plot. I won't do any major spoilers. I'll stay away from the end, but I do want to take a moment, analyze some of the plot, in order to break down and do a bit of a deeper analysis. Anyway, we open up with this girl, Samantha. She's tall and lanky and awkward. She's, tripping over stuff. She has a poor sense of coordination, and she feels clumsy, and I can see a lot of people relating to her, being the awkward one in school. Yeah, I get that. She has kind of a bit of a weird school that tries to be, I guess, progressive or something, because they want all the kids to call the teachers by their first names. So it's a little bit alternative, and she has like her one best friend that's like the only one who will listen to her. But of course, she has the bullies. There's this girl, Judith, who's constantly being mean to her, constantly making fun of her. Samantha's last name is Bird, and she keeps getting called a bird, and they say, fly away, bird, and you do get a whole bunch of stuff like that, where this girl, Judith, is just being relentless. Samantha was kind of forced onto the basketball team. The idea is, you're tall, you must be good at basketball, right? But no, she's uncoordinated, and she always feels embarrassed whenever she has to do practice or these games and stuff. Well, one day, she's riding her bike home, and she meets an old woman. And the old woman goes, "I'm lost, can you help me get to this address?" And it's pouring rain, and boy, you almost feel it just because of all the gloomy weather they describe. It's pouring rain, and Sam helps the old lady to the house she's looking for, and the old woman pulls out the crystal ball and says, "Let me give you 3 wishes, thank you for helping me." And at first she thinks, oh, I shouldn't do this, what's she up to? But she kind of makes the first one just to be polite, thinking there's nothing to it, and she wishes that she would be the best player on her basketball team. Well, as we all know, be careful what you wish for, right? She becomes the best player on the team, but not because she gets better. Everyone else gets worse. All her teammates feel sluggish, and they just, are practically passing out on the court. Now, Samantha at first thinks this is funny, which, a few points against her character, I guess, but then eventually becomes worried. It kind of does take her a minute. She becomes worried. Did I make everyone else on my team sick? Are they going to die because of me? And the girl that hates her, Judith, starts going, "She's a witch. Everyone else is sick but her. She must have something to do with it." And it's an interesting enough idea, but it does go a little longer than it should have, It's okay, and the idea that they would start suspecting her, but what would she do that made everyone sick, right? It's okay, but the point, it takes a while to get to the wishes, and when we get to the wishes, we're stuck here for a while. We do eventually get to the second wish, which I won't spoil, but it's much better, and I read through that part a whole lot faster with this super creepy second wish that could have been its own book. And I really like that, and I wish more time was given to that. That being said, the second wish is not exactly, because, you're supposed to take her words and twist it, and it's sort of like, yeah, I did your wish, and it also had this other thing, and magic's imprecise, and this is just what happened, and I'm like, that's a bit of a stretch. One thing I do like is, when she's worried about the other girl, she immediately tries to take it back, but it turns out Clarissa, the old woman with the crystal ball, has to actually be there, which is interesting. You want to do your second wish, she's not around. You have to go running around the city looking for her because she has to physically be there. And that was an interesting element, but with magic being imprecise and the way this book ends, it does have a bit of a moment at the end where they definitely bent the rules a little bit, and it's you gotta be precise. I mean, what's that joke nowadays? If you get 3 wishes, the first thing you have to do is find a lawyer and prepare a 12-page wish agreement. You can't be wishy-washy when the idea is these are subtle turns, and also it's Clarissa's supposedly good. She's oh, I really want to thank you for helping me, and yet everything's going so much sour, and it's okay, is she good or not? And if she is good, you think she would give a warning okay, look, let's think about these wishes before I grant them. So there is a little bit of shaky ground for her motivation that I'm not 100% sure I get as well. Overall, though, this book has some highlights, in particular that moment with the second wish and what it does to Samantha's world, but it does go slow at times. I wish there was more wish wackiness, and the ending could use a bit of work, but I'd be curious what you guys think of this. And I don't think it's a terrible Goosebumps book. I just think it's definitely a B-side, and it's not one of the best. But, it's still fun enough. It's just a case of something that I wish was a little bit better. But still, it's okay. I wouldn't start here. Anyway, To everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Goosebumps playlist. I've talked about quite a few of the books, like the original Welcome to Dead House or Night of the Living Dummy. If you want to see me talk about more Goosebumps, feel free to click right here. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.